Hannah Morris, Happy Valley Hannah. You guys have heard me say it time and time again that Happy Valley is such a magical place, but that magic doesn't just happen on its own. Today, I'm launching something new, but based on something great. A sit-down discussion with the people who helped make Happy Valley the happiest valley. For over 25 years, through Lunch with Mimi Barash Coppersmith had conversations with hundreds of famous, infamous, and everyday people like you and me. I'm picking up where she left off, and I'm bringing it to social media. And for my first ever episode, I'm sitting down with the Mimi herself. In your book, you talk about how Penn State and State College made you lucky. And I really feel like that's the case for me too. Mm-hmm. So I wondered if you could share a little bit more about how this area made you lucky.
Well, it's full of opportunity. Mm-hmm. And it's up to you to seize the opportunity and make it work. I did that along the way in helping others. I had an experience in my lifetime when I was very young. We got a telegram from the U.S. Department of something that my brother was killed in World War II, and our house became just so sad and something I didn't like.
Yeah.
As a young child, I don't know how young I was, but I was quite young. I decided that I had to help my mother feel better because she just was screaming and crying and had no life. Once that damn telegram arrived, the War Department regrets to inform you that your son, Calvin S. Unger, was killed in action. And a mother gets to know that, getting a letter that tells her.
That's the worst.
And she never got over it. But what it did to me, I get the chills when I talk about it. What it did to me, it made me decide that I had to figure out how to make other people happy. You know, it's no fun being in a rut.
No.
And I did that. I promised my mother I'd do things to help her. And, you know, this sounds like a strange story, but it's true. And I still remember the wooden stairway in our very modest house. And that event, which happened here, made me who I am.
So would you say that you found your own happiness through making others happy?
Made me more happy, yeah.
Yeah.
And if more people were generous and thoughtful, they would get the same thing, because it's a power that we have and we're reluctant to use. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, giving your money away is often viewed as, you know, why would you do that? Mm-hmm. Well, you do that because in the process, it makes everybody happy. It does something for their spirit. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have a spirit,
you're
in trouble. And this area encourages creativity. Mm-hmm. And creativity is the secret to most success. When you think about it. So I just got stuck in the mud and figured a way to work my way out of that and be good to others while I'm being good to myself.
That's amazing.
And I am who I am because I've done my life that way. Mm-hmm. And if more people did more for other people along with themselves, this would be a better world, much better world.
Well, you've done a lot for the community that has impacted all of our lives, but you know, I think you were kind of instrumental in starting Center Gives, or what is now Center Gives.
Right.
I mean, that just has so much reach. The preschool that my kids go to relies on, that. And I mean, just everything. And
I'm sure I'm not the only one that does that, though.
I'm sure, but But you've done so much of it. In your book, you talk about when you were in college and how you inspired so many of the other college students to give back. And
Right.
I mean, that's amazing.
Well, that's what life should be.
Yeah, it should be.
This one of the 2 books that have every single lunch with Mimi that I did personally.
That's amazing.
And the Historical Society has put it together because it's a remarkable piece of information about the history of people from all walks of life from this area.
Yeah.
And it was my idea to do that to make myself happy.
Yeah.
While I'm making other people happy.
Yeah. And you're getting the word out about people's ideas and, helping to, spread all of that information. That's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah. So I'm doing a little bit of that on a much smaller scale.
Well, you're young. You have lots of time.
Thank you.
I'm an oldie. I'm older than you think.
I have, a great mentor, and Nan has been so sweet and just supportive. And I think that's what's been amazing about this community. And sounds like
Nan, this community has attracted people who are not boring.
Yeah.
People who want to see action and things happen and help it happen.
Yeah.
Because then you can get the personal satisfaction while you're serving many other people.
Who are some of your most favorite people that you interviewed?
Well, let me tell you a funny story.
Okay.
The first person I decided to interview was the famous football coach,
Joe Paterno.
And so I called him and he said, sure, I'll do that. And I interviewed him and I went back and they were started to record it. And I had not put the machine on. Now imagine inviting perhaps the most famous person in Happy Valley to an interview, and I blew it.
Oh, no.
So I had to call him up and say, Joe, you're not going to believe this, but I didn't turn the machine on. Will you give me more of your time so I can do it? And he did.
Oh.
And so many people read that every month in the Town and Gown magazine.
Yeah.
And I picked ordinary people from out of the blue and famous people. But my goal was to get people to participate in the uniqueness of this community. And it continues to attract interesting people.
My husband and I, we wanted a better place to raise our kids. We have a 3 and a 5-year-old, and we wanted them to, be in great schools.
And they can be in great schools and they can be in great organizations that concentrate on delivering to them things they otherwise wouldn't have. And that's what this area is all about.
I think that's one of the best, gifts that we can give our kids is those opportunities.
Well, and then they develop and be people like the ones who attracted them.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like State College is growing just constantly.
What has good reasons to grow.
Yeah.
A great university, great education. It's really perfect land.
It is perfect land. I like that. One of the things that you talked about in your book was kind of the balance between working and mothering, and
that's the hardest of all the problems. Because both of those projects deserve the best of you, and you can't deliver to both. And you have to decide. There are other things you can do with your children. You have to decide if it's worth the sacrifice to be a person who impacts what happens in Happy Valley.
Yeah.
And I think I'm one of those people.
You are.
I learned it when my brother was killed.
Yeah.
And that's been the motivation, the inner motivation to be whoever I am and whoever I have become.
Mm-hmm.
Because I saw sadness at its peak. And I also learned that you can turn sadness into joy if you just take the time to look at the total picture. Nobody is spared losses in this life.
Mm-hmm.
But hardly any people turn the hardness into joy.
Yeah.
And there is a joy in helping others do more for themselves and the people they serve.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned that from a life I was thrown into,
Mm-hmm.
but a life that makes me appreciative for every hour of every day.
Yeah.
Because you never know what tomorrow will bring.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to play the game to make today as important as any day you've lived before.
Yeah.
Because it's the next one. I like to say I'm in my last chapter. And I am. I'm old, very old. But I'm very grateful
Mm-hmm.
for have the time to adapt to what you have to do as you get older.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been blessed.
Yeah.
I've been blessed.
When we had lunch a couple months ago, one of the things that was so cool to see was that everybody stopped by and wanted to say hi to
Right.
you. You know, everybody I think wants to be your friend.
I don't have it with me, but I wrote a poem last night or the day before about friends and family. Because friends and family have helped me stay alive.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have lots of friends and I feel, quotes, married to them.
Yeah.
And I have a family. You keep mentioning Nan. Nan is just a remarkable human being,
Mm-hmm.
cares about other human beings,
Yeah, I can
and
tell.
makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Yeah.
my daughter.
Yeah, that's amazing. You raised her.
The best message I can leave your readers with, be positive in life.
Mm-hmm.
There are lots of things that can interfere with your joy. You have to learn how to accept the bad with the good and return the good with the bad.
Yeah.
And if you can do that, you can preserve your longevity and make a difference in the world. This is my world.
Yeah.
I live here. I've grown up here. I've shown some of my stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very proud to be part of this area, which has grown by the cheer and joy and ability of the people who have inhabited it.
Yeah.
And I was smart enough to try to interview a lot of them because we learned from other people.
Well, I guess what I'm wondering is if I can do something similar and interview some of these people and kind of do, I don't know, maybe it's a breakfast with Hannah or a brunch with
sure
Hannah.
You can.
Yeah.
Just so you don't copy anything. Make it all original.
Yeah. Okay. Is it okay if I take your idea
Sure.
of your?
Why not? Why not? And just acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I wanted you to be my first conversation because.
Well, you're good at conversation.
Thank you.
Keep it full of facts,
Mm-hmm.
humor.
Mm-hmm.
Get famous people and infamous people.
Yeah. I think it's important to share that. So much of the media that we consume now is, social media, and it paints this picture of the perfect life and, the perfect home and the perfect kids. And that is just not reality, So I think it's important for people to show the hard things and to talk about the hard things. And you did that, long before.
I tried in my book to tell what the lesson was learned from the experience of life. And hopefully people get something from it. You obviously were attracted because of that. And the hard parts of life, you need the help and direction of other people to make it through, in my opinion.
I think so. You talk about the hard times in your life, but in a way that is so hopeful. And
well, you learn from the problems in your life, not from the joys.
Okay.
You pass on to others the joys.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. And I've been blessed. I've buried family that you can't replace family. But you must go on and do from what you've learned.
Yeah.
And I try to pass it on.
Yeah, you've done an excellent job of that.
And I hope that I encourage other people to be of service to other people, because that's why we're here. If we're here for just ourselves, what's that?
Have you ever considered running for president? You mentioned the hardship of mothering and being a professional and how it's like this really difficult balance. As you've watched your kids grow, do you feel like you did a pretty good job with that? Do you feel like looking back, do you feel like because I feel that way. I feel this pull.
Well, we're trying to do 2 jobs, and it's hard to do 2 jobs, but it's usually in the hands of the mother.
Yeah.
And you make the best of it, and you be realistic with your children too. What you can and can't do. And I don't mean what they can and do. I mean what the person in charge can do. You include your children in your life. When you're beginning to learn, and when you've learned, and when you're working together. That's how it goes. The music plays, but I want to make a difference. I want to be remembered, and I want to encourage other people to be giving and nice to their community, because that's where they live, in their community, and they make a difference there. I make a difference in my community, and I'm proud of it.
What would you say your greatest joys have been?
Wow. Probably my friends.
Yeah.
I have some friends that help me stay together, literally, physically, mentally. I have one particular friend that I couldn't survive without her. And we speak to one another about one another's interests, problems, mostly friends. Family everybody has, but not everybody has friends that play a role in helping them function properly. And I have friends who do that.
This town offers so much because people like Mimi are willing to give just so much of themselves to make it happen. For Mimi and others like her, I want to share their stories, showcase the good work that they've done, and inspire others to bring their own magic to Happy Valley. So stay tuned for my next episode of Happy Hour with Hannah.